Hello and welcome to the next episode of Eat, Move, Win and the musings of a bullshit queenager. Thank you so much for joining today. We have the very lovely, beautiful Ruth Whyte with us for our podcast today. Now, Ruth is a mental health advocate. She's a hypnotherapist and she specializes in anxiety. So this is a huge topic for those of you listening, especially for those in your 40s. You may have heard or you may be experiencing heightened anxiety due to perimenopause. And we're going to talk a little bit about anxiety in general and talk a little bit about how Ruth helps people, women, overcome anxiety. So welcome to the gang, Ruth. How are you?
I'm good.
Right.
Loving the rain on this lovely July afternoon.
Oh, I know. So we're recording this in July. It's the middle of the school holidays, and we're both in the west coast of Scotland, and it's Dreich, which is Scottish for ugh. Ugh, there's no other way. Ugh. And it's really warm. So when you go out for a walk, you've got to wear a cagoule, which is obviously plastic, and then you
Cagoule, you're showing your age.
Absolutely melting. And when you're like, I'm obviously over 40 and having a little bit of a crisis with core body temperature, so you come back for your walk and you actually feel like you've been in one of those sauna suits. You're like sweating like an absolute beast. Anyway, welcome, Ruth. I'm going to hand off to you. Tell us a little bit about you. Who are you? Where are you from? What you do?
So my name's Ruth and I am from Glasgow. But I currently stay in South Lanarkshire and I live in a little town called Larkhall. I've lived here since 2019. Me and my little girl, she is now 6. Her name is Amory. So we moved here in 2019, nearly 4 years ago. I am a hypnotherapist, as Emma said. I started my business around about a year ago, called the Whyte Rooms. The main reason I started...
Can we just jump in there? The Whyte Room is also the name of the famous KLF album.
Is it?
You might be too young to remember KLF, Ruth.
So no, I just came up with that name because obviously it's a play on my second name. But I wanted to create a space, a safe space for women to come and be part of a community. I wanted to start my business because in 2018, something traumatic happened to me and my family. My husband came home and he told me that he was going to die of grade 4 brain cancer. So our life was literally turned upside down. We were living in the Netherlands. He was military. My little girl was 18 months on that day. So then we were moved back to the UK, back to Helensburgh. Lots of trauma, lots of things going on. And then sadly in 2019, 17th September, he passed away. And I was left with a broken life, a broken heart and a 2.5-year-old. So I had to rebuild my life from there. And as you can imagine, the anxiety around that was, very, very, there was lots of anxiety around all different types of things. And as the times progressed, I wanted to turn my pain into power. I wanted to be able to take what happened to me and turn it into a positive to help other people. So that's when I came up with the Whyte Rooms. So I help women, and a lot of things around that was a lot of people had opinions on me, opinions on my life, opinions on how I should be living my life.
Was that like family members, or was that like
everyone
in the military, or?
Yeah, not the military. The military were great. It was mostly around family and close friends. And it was a therapist that actually said to me, you're allowed to say no. And literally a switch was flipped, and my awareness of myself, of my boundaries, I became more into myself, and I wanted to, take what I've learned and inspire other women and, create a movement where there's hope and empowerment and for people to feel safe. So yeah, that's a bit about me.
What an absolute horrible journey for you to go through. I mean, I can't even imagine like the initial shock and the process of having to go through all that but then to turn it around. So how did you like get from a place of, obviously you would be grieving, what was the process for you then to go through that, to turn around into, okay, I'm in a place now where I'm comfortable, I can help other people?
I don't think it was actually like just a day that I woke up and said, you know, okay, I'm going to help someone, I'm going to help people now. I think it was kind of like a gradual thing. So on Facebook, you obviously have got the Facebook group communities, and I was part of some of the groups are widowed and young, extremely widowed and young. So I was only 35 at the time. Oh. 34. I was 34 and I turned 35. And I think, you know, being able to share my story with other people and other young women who are in the same situation as me kind of ignited a passion, and it kind of grew gradually. And I was like, you know, actually, my story can be someone else's survival guide. And, you know, it can be able to help and give people hope that, I mean, it's not, you know, a bed of roses and it's not all great. And, you know, you said that initial shock, you know, that never leaves me. You know, I truly believe there is a little bit of PTSD in there somewhere, because that, you know, I have flashbacks, I have dreams, you know, it never leaves you that. But, you know, you take it and you go, okay, it was horrible, it was awful, but I was able to speak to other people in my situation and help them and make them feel, you know, heard and, you know, understood.
So what was it did you go through hypnotherapy yourself and see the benefit from you, or was that something that you explored further down the line to when actually, do you know what, this might be something additional that I can help people with?
So yeah, I did have, so the very first therapist I had, her name's Yvonne, she does hypnotherapy as well. So I did have some hypnotherapy along with the therapy I was having at the time, and it was so beneficial. And the course that I decided to start doing starts in the first year's hypnotherapy. So then I was like, I don't believe in coincidences. So I believe that everything happens, you know, for a reason. And I fell into it and I loved it. And at first I didn't have a very good perception of hypnotherapy, as everyone does. You know, what are they going to make me do? Is it going to be, you know, am I going to be put under? Am I going to be made to do silly things? But it's not like that at all. So that's when my love for hypnotherapy grew, and I just researched it more. And, you know, when something so traumatic happens to you, you are cracked open spiritually. So then, you know, I started exploring spiritual practice, and I actually fell in love with using the chakra system to help support my own mental health. So then I combined the two together, and it actually works lovely, you know, they combine beautifully together. So yeah, I forgot what you asked me, I was just blabbering.
No, you answered the question. So I was just like, well, how did you go through that journey then to actually learn how to be a hypnotherapist? Yeah. It's not something like you don't wake up one day and you're just like, oh, I'm going to be a hypnotherapist. So what is it about hypnotherapy and combining it with the chakras? And this is really weird because, right, I am not, right, although after this you might go, no, you totally are. I'm not a woo-woo person. I don't do spirituality. However, my last 3 guests on the podcast,
oh really?
I've had a witch, I've had a couple of different witches, and I've had a human design specialist on as well. So actually, like everybody, maybe I'm attracting all the spiritualists. And maybe that's actually the universe trying to tell me that actually you are totally into your woo. So, but what is it about the hypnotherapy combining it with the what was it, the chakra?
Yeah, the chakra system. Yeah.
What is it about that makes it so powerful, do you think?
So hypnotherapy is all about taking you into yourself. So, you know, it's a relaxation state, it's a trance-like state, and you go into a trance. So then, you know, you can, when you're in that hypnotic state, it's all about speaking directly. So if you imagine it like your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. I don't know if you've ever seen the film Inside Out, the little cartoon film.
Yes.
Yeah. So she's got a conscious mind and a subconscious, and there's a bridge between the two of them. So it's about that. And the hypnotherapy is to get you from your conscious mind into your subconscious. So that's what it does. And all your beliefs, or yourself, or your beliefs, or your belief system that you've that's been developed since you were a baby, you know, everything is in there, in your subconscious. And when you're in that trance-like state, I speak directly to your subconscious mind. So what the chakra system does is you can identify where your blockages are within each chakra and where anxiety can be coming from within each chakra. And it's a really good tool to use because you can pinpoint things in your body. I don't know if you've ever heard of the book, The Body Keeps Score, but it's about absolutely true. So the body holds trauma, the body holds anxiety and emotion, and you can pinpoint using the chakra system. So, you know, it's about finding out what your blockages are before you start the hypnotherapy, and then, you know, speaking to your subconscious mind, and I will, you know, come up with a script around that and speak directly, and it just, you know, heals that blockage and it heals that overstimulation. It doesn't happen right away, it takes practice.
Yeah.
But it's all about, you know, there's 7 chakras, and, you know, it's about coming up with a script for each chakra where you can heal that blockage and heal that overstimulation. Does that make sense?
It is absolutely fascinating. It's just so beyond like what sits naturally, I think, with me. It's that whole kind of like, really? So it's so interesting. So coming back full circle, not away from the chakras, I suppose, but, you know, what was it? So you went through all this process and started healing to some extent. What was it that made you go, yeah, I'm going to head up a movement. I am going to be the leader, the fighter, the advocate here. Was that always something that's been in you, do you think? And it was just like you needed this experience for it to come out, or, you know, was that a slow burner as well?
Do you know what? It's funny you said that, because I've had to do a lot of work on myself, a wee bit of shadow work as well, and, you know, I very much go back to, I want to be the person that I was before this happened. But when that happened to me, it just changed me totally. And I felt that experiencing the way people respond to you when you change, you know, it can be very negative. And, you know, women especially can get into that rut of feeling, you know, I've got to say yes to everything. I've got to, you know, take on everything. People pleasing, you know, that's kind of like I do have a kind of theory around that, but that's another, you know, another avenue. But so yeah, so it's all about, you know, empowering people to use their voice, empowering women to use their voice, and saying, actually, do you know what, this is not comfortable for me. No. You know, you said it earlier, no, it's a full sentence. And I'm very passionate about that, you know, and creating that safe space, the Whyte Rooms, for people to come in, join the community, you know, and feel it's okay. It's okay to feel like that. It's okay to feel disempowered, but here's how we can get going. And I just feel passionate about using my experience to help other people get that voice, find their voice.
I know it's actually a huge part of what we do as well with our clients, is about this whole concept of boundaries. You know, we don't have to take on everybody else's baggage. We don't have to take on everybody else's tasks. And most people, myself included, it's just become part of our identity, just doing everything, because, you know, either it's things like, oh, I'm quicker just doing it myself, or if I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. And it just becomes a habit almost. So having that, you know, permission to say, no, I'm not doing that, or I'm not entertaining this type of conversation, or I'm not the one to have to remind you to do all the things that you're asking me to remind you to do. You're a grown up, you can do all this thing yourself. And I think it's so empowering, but it makes people really scared to say no. People get really, really anxious about saying no. And I suppose you're the anxiety expert. That's like where you can help people overcome that.
I think it's a lot to do with, again, the people pleasing, the backlash from that. You know, because when you start putting those boundaries in and you start saying no, or saying, actually, that's not comfortable for me, people will respond to that in a negative way. You know, people will throw tantrums, and they will, you know, say bad things about you. And I think there's a lot of fear around that. People will think badly of me if I say no. And it's about saying, actually, what people think about you is not your problem. That's on them, not you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it's a learned practice. It's a learned skill. Like,
Yes.
it's like anything else. The first couple of times you do it, you do get that kind of like, oh my God, they're going to judge me. But the more you get into the comfort of knowing what you can or what you're willing to do, what space you're willing to give people, then it just becomes second nature to be able to say, no, not today. Not today, Satan. Thanks very much.
Yes.
Not happening. Right. So you focus a lot on anxiety, and this is a huge topic for the women listening. For, you know, in perimenopause, hormones can really make us feel anxious alongside, you know, all the changes that are happening to our body, alongside all the changes that are happening to lifestyle. You know, the mental load that women have is huge. You know, families, careers, businesses, parents are getting older, kids are getting older, you know, everything just
Yeah.
So take me through, and I think I don't know whether this is a generational thing, I see it more in I think it probably is a bit of a generational thing. It's like that, we can do it ourselves, we can just do everything ourselves. And that can actually be a reason for anxiety. Is like when you start questioning, going, I feel ashamed that I can't do it all. And then we have the whole, like, this is probably something embarrassingly that I've probably thought in the past, is like getting help for something like that is a sign of failure. And then you add into the mix of, oh, a hypnotherapist, well, they're not going to be able to help me because they're just going to turn me into a chicken dancing on one leg. And so take me through, like, how does hypnotherapy help? You know, what would you do with somebody that came to you and went, do you know what? I'm really struggling. I'm totally freaking out. I'm stressing out. I don't know why. There's not one thing that's, you know, it's just this all-encompassing feeling. You know, how do you help people with that?
Okay, so for me, in my learning, the hypnotherapy journey begins with you. So I can't wave a magic wand and make it all go away.
Oh, God damn you, Ruth.
I wish I could.
I've got this pen pot here, and I do actually have, my little boy was a bit Harry Potter drafted. At one point there was magic wands in here.
Was there?
I could have easily just bought out a magic wand and go, ta-da, I've got one. It's not gonna work.
So it's all about, you know, I'm your guide to, you know, getting you to a place where you're empowered, you feel like you've got the tools to manage your anxiety. So the journey starts with you. So once you decide, okay, I'm going to help myself, it's time for me to support this anxiety, and you make your booking or whatever, and you go and research and you find out. Basically, it starts with you. So when you come to the session, I'm very much it's about finding out what's happened before so that we can process that and move forward. So a lot of people don't work like that. A lot of people are very much solution focused, like CBT, you know, it's very much in the now to move forward. Whereas I'm a firm believer in, there might not be a lot of trauma, but what have we got to work with, and what has happened, so that we can learn through that and we can move forward with it. So do you want to know what a session includes as well? Was that?
Yeah, if you don't mind, I think it might be quite useful.
So basically,
out of it.
So basically, I do that because I want to find out how I can personalise the script. So basically, once you're in that trance state, it's about providing your subconscious with the information that it needs to make change, to make transformation. So you start off with, you relax the body, you get the body in a relaxed state, starting from the head down to the feet. And then you do a deepener, so it takes you, again, it reduces the brain waves. So you have to reduce the brain waves to get into that trance state. So when you do the deepener, it takes you more into the trance. And then you are ready for your subconscious open, your subconscious is ready to receive the messages, the script that I've personalised for you. And I feel round about maybe 4 sessions is a good start. And then I can send you away with the tools that you need to go and, you know, practice yourself, because it is like a muscle, you have to build it up. You know, it's a practice. You don't just come to hypnotherapy. For me, I don't think you can just go to any therapy and then you're cured, and then that's that. You know, it's a continuing growth, it's a continuing practice. So yeah, so it's about the sessions that we do, I record them, you go away with them and you integrate them into your everyday life, and how you want to use them. And you know, it could be for anything, you know. And the thing is as well, I always believe that anxiety or OCD or intrusive thoughts, that there always is that trigger somewhere. So it's about, you know, getting you to find that, so that I can then personalise your script so that it does make transformational, lasting change.
And there's no chickens?
No, and there's no picking onions either.
It's hugely interesting. Like, and I just think, you know, what you're doing, that whole thing about, you know, the movement that you're creating and empowering people to actually use their voice is just, it's so important. And like, how do you then incorporate that into your sessions or into your clients' work? You know, is there, like, do you have a community of people and you're like, okay, well, we need to practice what we're preaching, you know, all that kind of stuff? How do you then put that message across?
What about building the movement?
Uh-huh.
So I think a lot of it's to do with the anxiety, is a lot to do with feeling out of control.
Yeah.
As well. So when we feel out of control, you know, that's when anxiety kicks in. So yeah, I think for me, it's about, you know, empowering people to feel back in control of their life, back in control of their own voice, and having that community of people together who can encourage, who can empower each other. And yeah, I do have a community of people like that, you know. And it's just about, you know, information is key as well. You know, if people know where their anxiety is coming from, you know, it actually gives you a little bit, okay, I understand that, and it takes the power away from your anxiety, so you feel more in control of it. So, you know, it's about having people around you who think similar, who are in a similar situation, and we can help each other grow.
Yeah, I like the sound of that much more. Like, very often anxiety breeds anxiety. So sometimes you get groups of people who are ultimately, I don't want to say making each other worse, that's not the right phrase, but they're feeding off each other's anxieties to then create even more anxiety, which is just like the exact opposite of what you're wanting to try and achieve. So I think that's hugely important as well, is like that whole like behavior breeds behavior. And if you've got a group of people who are like, I'm not giving into this, you know, I'm taking my power back, I'm going to be like the person I want to be and not have that control me, I think that's hugely important. It sounds like, you know, it sounds like something that's quite important to yourself.
Yeah, so that's why I kind of use the chakra system as a kind of structure as well, because, you know, if you're in control of the aspects of each chakra and you understand it and you know where, you know, where it's shown up for you, that's really empowering to know that. You know,
how do you know that though? Like,
well, you could, it's doing a little bit of shadow work around that. So if I was to work with a client, you know, we would ask questions before, you know, and it would be a little bit of homework for them to think about, you know, what aspects of my life are not working right now. So say like the root chakra is all about feeling safe, feeling secure, you know, feeling loved, like grounding, like do I feel grounded to where I am right now in life? And then as you move up, you know, the sacral chakra is all about your creativity, how you are sexually, you know, like, is it being suppressed? You know, is there your creativity being suppressed? Is there anything in your life that's stopping you? Solar plexus is all about confidence, you know, being in your own power, understanding your self-belief, and if there's any blockages there. Your heart's all about love, self-love, loving on yourself, loving on others. Your throat's about, is my favourite, speaking your truth. That's my favourite one, which is, you know, sometimes it is blocked, you know, I can't speak my truth, but it's my favourite one. It's about what are you not saying to people that you want to be saying. Third eye is all about, you know, where are you going in life, and your vision, your hope for the future. And then there's your crown, your higher self. You know, are you living your best life? Are you living in your best self? And where the blockages are around that. So it's all about, you know, the questions that you ask, and helping people, guiding people to their conclusions, so that then they feel empowered and they know So when they pop up, you go, oh, actually, that's my throat chakra, because I'm not saying what I should be saying.
Wow.
If that makes sense.
Fascinating. It does totally make sense. And, you know, the more you were talking there about identity, because a lot of people, there's anxiety about not knowing why you're anxious as well. So having that guidance from someone like yourself to then go, right, well, if I ask you all these questions, it's going to pinpoint where this is coming from, so we can then really get into the nitty-gritty and ask the right questions to get you to the answer. That's quite powerful.
So it's not for the faint-hearted.
No, it doesn't sound like it. It doesn't sound like you're just going to say count backwards from 10 and dance like a chicken. Not in any way whatsoever.
I can get my clock, my watch out.
TikTok, I know. Oh God, it's absolutely fascinating. So, like, going back to anybody listening today that is feeling out of control, that is feeling anxious, and there's not really a pinpoint to it, what kind of tips can you give them?
Okay, so I think I'd like to go we go back to what we were saying about, you know, where boundaries and stuff like that. I actually wrote a little note down there, because one of the tips that I found helpful is, if someone's wanting you to do something, if someone's pressuring you into something, you know, just take the time. So something that I used to do was I'd say yes straight away. Okay, yes. And I wouldn't think about how that was going to impact my life. So actually, you don't have to answer the message within 10 seconds. You don't have to answer. You say, well, actually, I'll get back to you on that. Just take that time for you and think, actually, is this comfortable for me? So that's a tip. That's a big thing that I would, you know, tell people. Just take that little minute to think about yourself. Is this going to positively impact me?
Yeah. That's
So
a huge part of self-care as well. Like, it's that whole.
Oh yeah. I also think another tip that I've got is having a routine. So like in the mornings, like I like to get up and have a little cup of tea, do a little bit of journaling, a little bit of meditation, all the worst stuff that Emma's cringing at.
No, I do my own version, which also includes the tea. I really do struggle with meditation. I can't lie about it. I really, really struggle. And actually, I had a reading. I told you about the human design. I actually had a full-on reading, and it now makes sense why I can't do it. So I'm just it's not my fault.
So it's just about, you know, finding a little routine that takes maybe half an hour just for you. And self-care as well. So self-care doesn't have to be like going for massages or all that kind of thing. It's just more about giving yourself that space, that time, to reflect on how you feel, because I think that's a lot. Like, we lose ourselves. You know, we give away chunks of ourselves all the time, every day.
Yeah.
And it's about saying, actually, give me my chunks back. Like, I want to, you know.
I know, it's that whole identity thing, isn't it? It's like, you know, you go through life, you come with, for a lot of people, you become a mother, you become a wife, you're somebody's daughter, and then you're an employee or a business owner. And it's so easy, like especially like in our 40s, when it's almost like we're force-fed this notion of it's midlife time and time for the ticking clock. And like, I hate the phrase midlife, and I don't use it unless I'm basically just flagging it off like I did there. And it's just, it all comes back to being the person that you want to be. And being the best. That's so cheesy, but being like the best version of yourself. And you know, that might not be where you are right now. And it's, you know, everybody's got the choice of, okay, well, you can stay where you are, or if you want something different, you can work towards that as well.
And that's huge, because the choice, I think women who are in kind of similar situations feel stuck, and they're like, I don't have a choice. Like, I don't have, because, you know, again, it's a generational thing. No, we don't have a choice. We can't make change, but actually, yes, you can. You know, and there's loads of women round about you who feel the exact same. And, you know, it's all about, you know, being part of that movement where, you know, yes, you can make a choice. It's okay. And it's okay.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like it's like circumstances, environment, life, a lot of things you cannot change. But the one thing everybody's got control over is their thoughts.
Yeah.
And even just that whole mindset of, well, I'm stuck, I can't change, even just changing that slightly to, well, do you know what? Maybe if I start thinking that it's possible to change, that's a huge shift in itself,
Yeah.
just to start the process. And that goes with everything in life, you know, that like career, relationships, body health, trauma, anxiety, everything. It's just that little shift can start off that whole rolling stone.
Yeah. And for me, it was just that therapist saying to me, you know, you're allowed to say no. It just takes somebody to just, you know, that one little thing.
Absolutely. It's so powerful. Questioning things that you believe to be true.
Yes.
So powerful.
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness me. Love that. That was good. I feel as if I've had a full session. I feel, oh God. Okay, so lovely Ruth, where can people find you? On social media, not your actual address. Like we don't want people to go up to your house.
I mean, you can come to my house if you want to tidy up, that'd be fine. So you can find me at the whyterooms.uk. It's my website, www.thewhyterooms.uk. You can just look me up on Instagram, the Whyte Rooms, and you know, I've got my Facebook group as well, the Whyte Rooms Wellbeing Circle.
Whyte Rooms Wellbeing Circle.
Yes. I do have some freebies as well that I can share if you know.
Yeah, if you give me the links, I'll put them in the show notes because people.
So I've got a freebie of an anxiety workbook that takes you through journaling, takes you through self-care, all that kind of thing. And I've actually got a freebie of my ebook. So it tells you a little bit me, my story, and a little bit about each chakra as well. And you know, and it gives you some affirmations as well that you can have and use in your daily practice. And I'm doing a free workshop as well. I'm going to be doing them kind of every few months. So basically it's like an information session on how hypnotherapy works. It's called Hypno Chakra, which I love.
It's like hypnobirthing, but better.
Yeah. And it's just about, you know, learning about the chakras, how they can help you, and I'll take you through like a full kind of experience of, you know, being, you know, using chakra healing through hypnotherapy.
That's fab. Right, send the links over to me and I'll put them in the show notes for everybody.
Okay.
So that was fabulous. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think like over time, certainly for me, that's very much always been a bit of a skeptic or a cynic. It's when you apply the science of it and in real life to, you know, what you've been talking about, it takes away that whole, oh, well, this is just woo-woo. It actually becomes much more logical. And it just makes perfect sense. And especially, you know, on the theme of anxiety, sometimes it feels like it comes from nowhere. And you get to change it. You get to not live with anxiety. Like it might not ever truly go away, but you get to live to manage it and you get to be able to choose. And that's even just a powerful shift in mindset that everybody can start thinking about.
Absolutely. And if anybody's looking for a good book recommendation, Don't Feed the Monkey Mind by Jennifer Shannon. Life changer.
Is that, so I'm a big The Chimp Paradox fan.
It's kind of same, it's kind of similar, but yeah, it's kind of
similar. Monkeys and chimps, so different.
Yes, yeah, but that was an absolute game changer for me. Yeah,
perfect. Love it. Right, well, thank you very much, my lovely. It was great to have you on, and we'll put all the show notes in. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thank you.